thanks for coming down and hanging out with me in the basement today. What we've got is the Menards number 3945 Santa Fe engine, which I really enjoy. It's a really good runner most of the time. But what I've noticed is it's kind of getting a little jerky on some of the sections of my track, even though my track is fairly clean. I say fairly clean because I base that off the operation of my other locomotives. They don't seem to have too much trouble. But what we're going to do is we're just going to do some basic maintenance, and we're going to look under the hood. So let's get cracking. I got everything all laid out, and basically what I'm going to do is the first step I'm going to do is clean the wheels, and then we'll see if that helps, because I was a little worried I might have had a motor kind of flaking out on me, but considering that the train gets a little jerky in the same sections of track, and my other locomotives don't, I'm going to try cleaning the wheels and the pickup rollers more importantly. Those are very important to clean. So as you look on the underside of the chassis here, here's our switch for the diesel sound. This is where it picks up the center roller power on the rollers here. Same thing over here. And then also on the wheels, and you can see we got a black mark going on there. It's a little hard to tell with all the chrome plating, but looks like they've made this pretty easy to service. The side frames will come off with some Phillips screws, and that'll make it easy for us to get around the screw. Or we could also run a power wire. There's multiple ways to power this up and have the wheels go on for us, but we're not going to go quite that in depth. Removing the side frames is also going to make it easier for us to access these the gears here and put a little lubrication on them. So this is something that they don't tell you on the Menards side of things, and you know, I'm making these videos. A lot of people already know this stuff, but I'm making these videos for people that haven't had these engines before, or are just getting into model railroading, and they want to learn how to service stuff. So this looks pretty straightforward, kind of similar to what MTH does, and maybe Lionel does. I'm not really sure, but we got 2 screws here. It's very important you use an appropriate size screwdriver. You don't want to strip out these screws. All right, let's see if we can. Excellent. That makes it really easy to pull off. 2 screws. Then we have access to the gears. We've got a lot of grease on there, so I don't need to worry about greasing those up. That looks a little better. All right, everything still seems pretty free there. All right, so what I've got today is my lubrication of choice is this. Now, I am not saying you have to use this. There are many kinds of lubrications you can use. They're all good. I will say do not use any spray lubricants. Don't use WD-40 or any other spray products on here. They just won't work very well. I like this motor oil. It's very important to use motor oil because it has very low paraffin in it. But there's other synthetic oils. You can use super lube, all kinds of stuff. Alright, so let's see. Looks like we might even have some grease on the inside of that wheel. That's a little weird. Alright, so I've got isopropyl alcohol here. Again, there are many kinds of cleaners you can use. I'm not saying that this one's the best or you could only have to use this one. I'm just saying this is what I use. Other alternatives are lighter fluid is another good one. Seems a little counterproductive to use lighter fluid, but it works good. I've used it. Alright, so we're just going to get in here with the paper towel and just really rub this wheel here. See? Look at how black that is. And it's starting to come off on the wheel, or starting to clear up. So this is, sometimes you also might want to wear rubber gloves, because my hands are probably going to get dirty after this one. It's since these wheels are chrome plated anyway, there's going to be some marring where it goes on the track. But the main thing we want to do is wipe it until the rag comes clean. And what I might do, just to get on the bottom side, is I might, after I clean the wheels, I might roll the locomotive forward a little bit on the track just to get to the bottom part. Alright, that's good. We also want to clean the traction tire, because the traction tire does pick up a lot of dirt. And this is very important. Don't use any kind of harsh chemicals on this. You don't want to deteriorate the rubber, that's for sure. That'll come out pretty black as well. But we're not going to super duper clean this. Okay, we got the top half done on that side. I'm going to go ahead and do the other ones. Yeah. Let's clean the roller while I got you on camera here. Alright, I'm going to kind of drag the cloth as I go across and rotate the roller as well. Another thing I hope to accomplish when I pull the shell off is we're going to see if both of these rollers are connected to each other. just the way this operates and jerks, I'm kind of thinking it's not. Okay, got all the frames removed, got the wheels cleaned. Really just the one wheel was just the worst. The other ones were actually pretty good, kind of strange. The rollers were certainly dirty, but not crazy. So, while this really doesn't have a ton of runtime on it, I'm going to put some lubrication in it anyway, just on the pivot points. So where you want to lubricate is the axles. That's pretty obvious. And with oil, not necessarily on the gears, because we've got grease already, but where the gears rotate on their shafts, we want to put that in. And then on... This is the opposite side of that shaft. There's gears on this side. We want to put a little bit right where this rotates. And if you need to figure out where it rotates, this outer piece is just a collar that's locked onto that shaft. We're just going to put a little oil right there. So let's start with this guy. Let's put a little bit in there. And then we'll just put a little bit of oil, tiny amount, right up in here. And then with this design... Interesting. So, yeah. There's enough room to get in here. You might need a different oiler to really get into the bearings, but this one, they leave you pretty good access. We don't want to put any oil on the gear. Just put a little bit in there. Sneak it by. I'm going to have to get a different oiler for back in here. So, we'll give it a quick test run with the side frames off. And we'll see if it's any better. Why with the side frames off? Well, with the side frames off, it's easier to get to these screws here that hold on the body, and we'll check out under the hood. Okay, let's see if it's any better. Is it any better? No. Alright, about the same. Nope, back it up. Well, we still got a little bit of an issue there. I've got some theories on that, but let's see what we got under the shell. Okay, this is the first time I've had the shell off. It seems pretty easy. We got 4 screws, and I don't think we have to take these off, but we'll find out together. Yeah, this is easier to do without the side frames on, but it'd still be doable with the side frames on. You don't have to take them off. It's kind of acting like we've got, like it's only getting power from one of the trucks. I've also noticed that only one of the rollers gets warm after long operation. In theory, they should both be warm. Alright, let's see if that's all that it takes. Yes. Alright, let's do a shot for the thumbnail here. Okay. These are the connections to the truck here. I'm going to test those with a multimeter, make sure they're working good. But it's pretty hard to screw that up. These are pretty heavy-duty wires. Get a good look at our motor. Yeah, there's not really an easy way to service the brushes in these motors. They're rather crimped down over it. Here's our circuit board, and this is the little antenna for the transmitter. What we got here? JDJM-HC power. Well, there's not much to it, which is kind of what we were thinking. DC 18 volts. Interesting, it says DC, but it's working fine on AC. Probably because of this big bridge rectifier here. Alright, let me do some testing. We'll see what I find out. What I've determined after doing the basic maintenance and running it around at low speed, at low voltage, is I've determined that the both rollers are indeed connected to each other. The wiring is good, it's not broken. Both sets of outer wheels are connected to each other, which is perfect. I think my rear motor is giving me trouble. I've looked in there. It definitely has some brushes in it, so this is a good quality motor, nice thick brushes. So what I'm going to try next is I'll take this off the track, and I will put a special electrical contact cleaner into the motors, and we'll see if that improves the performance of the low speed performance of these motors. Okay, kind of moment of truth here. I've got the contact cleaner in there, blew it all out, made sure it was dry, and I put a very tiny bit of lubrication in the very top of the motor, just a smallest drop possible, because the contact cleaner will wash out some of the lubrication from up there. Let's see if I broke it. Alright, we'll put it in slow. The rear motor is not moving at all. Yep. The rear motor is not moving at all. Well, so I definitely got a problem with that rear motor. It's kind of what I was thinking. Alright, I might have to do some surgery on it. We'll see what I find. Good news, good news! As I was investigating the rear motor, I started to pull on the wires, and here I've got a broken wire. Phew! I feel much better. I did not have to spray contact cleaner in here, but I should have checked that first. Because these wires are very tight, this kind of thing can happen, and it just must have been barely making contact, because I figured I had a problem with the rear motor. Let's check the front ones. This one's a little wonky because it's on there sideways, but you know, I'm going to investigate that too, because this feels a little loose. Alright, let's fix the rear motor. Let's see, so what I'm going to try to do is get a little more slack for this guy. That's part of the problem with the wire tying everything up. Alright, yep, take a look at that. Broke right there. That really explains my issues. Well, good. I'm really happy I found something. We will get the soldering station out and a new piece of heat shrink. Yeah, there's no solder blobs in there. That just broke right off. Okay. There we go. And the front one doesn't have one on it, so that's alright. Okay, yeah, that looks pretty darn straightforward. Make sure don't have any issues here. Gonna pull back the heat shrink, which isn't really shrunk very good on this one. Let's see how our wires are doing. Our wires are doing good there. Alright, let's put that back down. Well, this is really good news. I am relieved. Especially weird when that motor wasn't turning. These wires are also a little thick for this motor, but oh well. Alright, so we'll strip off a small amount. Okay. Temporarily get these wires on the other side of it. Instead of, these are almost, get a little more slack here too. Let's see, how much room do we got with the shells on? Pretty good, but so these wires were soldered kind of on the top like this. So I'm going to more do on the side like that. Alright. Let's get out the soldering equipment. Doesn't matter what you have your soldering iron set to as long as it's hot enough, but not too hot. Put some solder on the very end of the wire. There we go. We'll flow some solder on the end of the motor here. Excellent. We'll just heat everything up. Still want a little more wire here. Get a little more wire. That's pretty good. That's all there is to it. Okay, good. That worked. That'll work great. Alright, clean the tip of the iron, shut off the soldering iron, and see if we can slide back our front connections and see how they're doing. Yeah, we can. Okay, that one looks good. We'll check this guy. I'm not so sure on this blue guy. That was just weird. I was just barely making connection. Okay, let's check him out. Yeah, he looks good. Alright. So I'm not going to worry about covering this up. Alright, now let's clean off everything. Give it a test run. I think it's going to work great. Okay, we got the transformer set to about 9 volts. Let's give it a shot. Oh, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. Alright, let's get to the other end of the track where it was having trouble. It is running really smooth, which is exactly what I did when it was brand new. It's not jerky at all. I am really impressed. Certainly didn't hurt that I cleaned out the motor with the contact cleaner. Oh yeah, look at that sucker. Nice and smooth. Perfect. Alright. Let's give her a little high-speed run. Okay, I put it at 18 volts. We got full throttle here. Alright, let's stop it. Takes a while to stop. We'll go reverse. Full speed. And we'll stop it. And we'll try slow. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So, let's get the shell back on. The important thing is not to pinch any wires, because we've got some wires over here that I loosened up, which is fine. But we want to make sure that no wires get pinched between the shell and the frame here. So we'll just set this on. And one thing you could do if you really didn't like the reverse light, I'm not a fan of it, but it's good to know when it's in reverse, I guess, is you could unplug the connector here, but I'm not going to bother with that. We'll just leave it. It's not the end of the world. Okay, so we gotta pull the shell apart slightly. And we'll see how it's doing on the other side. Good, and we're just inspecting all the seams here. One more thing. When you're putting screws into plastic bodies like this, where the screws cut their own threads like this one does, not a machine screw, you really want to be careful. We want this to last for generations, because there's not going to be bodies and stuff available for these. So what you do, it's an important tip, turn the screw backwards until you feel the screw kind of fall back in, and then you start turning it. And if it's ever tough, you want to back it back out and try it again, because you don't want to be cutting new threads every time, because pretty soon you'll wear out the threads, and then it will be a larger screw, and then you'll kind of run out of screws and have to repair the hole, and all kinds of stuff that can go wrong. But, well, as usual, the repair ended up slightly differently than what I figured it would be, but hey, that's okay, because I learned something, and I learned something every repair I do. What did I learn on this one? Well, basically, check for the simple stuff, which, hey, you get into a rut, and to be perfectly honest, it threw me for a loop, because it would act up on the same pieces of track, which led me to believe possibly that dirty track, which I cleaned, and possibly the contacts, which on the rollers and stuff, you saw me clean that, and then it was on to more things. I checked for broken wires and whatnot, but not on top of the motor. So hey, live and learn, and didn't do any harm by what I did, and that's a bonus. So let's get going here. Let's hit the talk button.
Dispatch, I see the signal has gone from red to green. We are moving. Check. The signal is green.
Let's hit the bell. Hit the horn a few times. and go forward. I got the transformer set on about 11 volts, so it'll go nice and slow. I like it. I love this volume control. Alright, it is working great. So, if any of you are wondering why I put this little white mark on here, it's because that's where it will start moving. There's several spots of dead zone, which I don't really like, but hey, it is what it is, and I'm really happy I got this set. So, let's crank her up to 18 volts here, which is the max you should run. And then we can go full speed. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Jeremy with Too Many Hobbies.
Moving from track 5 to track 1. Track 1 lamp is green. Confirm the green. Cars are rolling through smoothly.
Interesting. I didn't realize the bell would come back on. Okay, that's cool.